Hi, it's Gary again. When I first made the candy cart, I didn't really give out many dimensions to it, and a couple of people have asked for dimensions for a cutting list, so it's only going to be a quick video going through some of the dimensions. Some would be in millimetres, some in inches. I work in both, it doesn't really matter. So if we start with the actual candy cart itself, the top roughly in between is 635 millimetres, which is about 25 inches, and the length of the top is 48 inches or 1222 millimetres. It's made out of MDF. Now that just gives a little bit of a lip over the top, so these dimensions are going to be approximate. You can move them around as you like. Another part is the height of it, of the actual box itself. The height of it itself is about 500, about 20 inches, and the total length of the box itself is about 1200, again around 48 inches. I mean, they're going to vary, so it doesn't really matter. The wheel itself, the outside diameter, is about 500, but that was really only to give a nice kind of look to the wheel, and also I just made this follow that shape of that 500 millimeter wheel, which is about 19.5 inches. Also, the width of the cart itself is about 580, about 23 inches. But you can play around with those if you like. That's the only ones that worked out for me, plus what wood I had hanging around at the time as well. Height wise, off the floor, there's another one too. It's about 900 mil, about 35.5 inches to the top, which just happened to work out just about the right size. I don't know if you can see or not, but after it was all nicely painted, the cat decided to go and walk through a load of dirt puddles and walk all over this. God bless him, is all I can say. Now the ends. These are the ends that go the uprights. Same again. These are approximate because they just worked out quite well. That's about 770 millimeters, or about 3¼ inches. Dimension wise, that way too, about 240 millimeters, which is about 9.5 inches. Now these spindles come in the standard size. They're for staircase spindles. I've cut these down a little bit just to get the right height. They come in about 900 millimeters, which again is about what is it, about 35.5. I think they actually come in 36 inches. No. Same with this piece on the bottom. Them again, roughly about 150 mil, about 6 inches. And also the width is the same as the top-ish, about 625 millimeters, about 24.5 inches. The circles at the ends are up to you. What I used at the time was a pot of hand cream my wife had, and it just happened to be kind of the right shape I wanted, and then the holes drilled in the centre. Now this is the back section. There. This is the back section that sits in the slots at the back. Same again, approximately height wise, it's about 250 millimeters, about 10 inches. Length also is about 1210 millimeters, about 47¾ inches or 48 inches. And then you don't have to do it, but I just thought it would be a nice touch to put a heart in the middle of there. This is the top section, or the ridge, if you like to call it. Same again as these loops on the end. Same again was the same as the pot of hand cream my wife had hanging around. and that is again 150 millimeters or 6 inches, and then to the ends about 1317 millimeters, which is about 54 inches. And that's all, these two parts are all 12 millimeter MDF. The back panel, this is the little door that goes on the back of the car itself. That's self-explanatory. I just did it the width of the back, which is about 580 millimeters by 23 inches by 510 millimeters or 20 inches if you want it in old money. Now these are just the handles. Same again, these dimensions vary. It depends what looks right with the car itself. These are a total of 600 millimeters, about 23 3/4 inches, by about 145 millimeters, which is about 5 5/8. But then you cut the slot out of the back so it can slot in and be clamped. In here you can see the two lever clamps. The way that works is, if you see that piece of timber on there, it slots in, locks, and then when you do it to the other side, same with this piece of timber, that points inwards. The two pieces of wood that you slot the board to, so it holds it in place. And then on the bottom you can fit a catch. I fit a magnetic one, or you can put a ball catch or anything you like, and then that holds that in place. Thought I'll show you a shot underneath. These two timbers that are going across, one is 600 millimeters, which is about 2 3/8. That's about 40 millimeters, which is about just over 1 3/4 inches. These two are 45 by 45, which is about 1 3/4 inches both ways. And same with that top section there, that's another 600, the same as that one. It's really to give it a bit more chunky. You can just see the copper pipe that runs through there on the making of the video. On the video of the making of the candy cart, you'll see how I did that. It stood up so far to the test, but I'm still not sure about these wheels. I'm really not sure. I don't like them, so I want to change them. Considering how big it is, it's not massively heavy. You wouldn't want to drop it on your toe, that's for sure, but very transportable. These bolts are 100 millimeters or 4 inches. I think they're M8. I'm not quite sure what that is in old money. So 2 of those, and there's some washers in there. They're all different sizes. You can work that out. And I think that's about it. The last 2 items are these steel rails to hold the cloth on the top, and they are about 1170 millimeters by 446 inches ish. Same again, they're all approximate. I mean, if it is what it all really looks like, if it looks right, then it's right. That's all I can say about that, really. If there's any more questions, I'll try and answer them if I can. And thanks for watching. Cheers.